That's why you can't hear me. Hello! I had the wrong microphone selected in SteelSeries. Hello, everybody! It is Quill here. Welcome on in. Hope everybody's having a good day today. We got a couple things that we're going to be doing pertaining to right now. Be getting Kick integration working for Streamer.bot right now. Because that's what I need to do right now. Please re-authenticate. That's what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, everything seems to be there. So I should have this chat open because this chat box actually shows everything. Hello. For people that are watching on Twitch, hello. For people that are watching YouTube and Twitch chat are linked via streamer.bot. Kick chat is not at the moment right now, and I haven't figured that out yet. But I will as soon as everything goes well. Hello, and welcome to the stream. This is my just chatting scene. We're going to be flipping over to the desktop here. And basically, I'm going to enlarge this because I want it to be enlarged for today's stream. Welcome. Where is my overlay? Oh, wait, did I get rid of my overlay source? Oh, I did. What the fuck? Why did I delete it off of this scene? Oh, it's called widgets. Wait. Okay, there we go. Everything's back. Okay. I was like, where the hell did it go? I have been presented with a bunch of questions and a bunch of just kind of like known issues. As of currently, we are using Cider at the moment. We're actually playing Apple Music. That's what we're doing. Apparently, there's supposedly a problem, and it looks like something here has happened. I'm not sure what the hell this is. I think this is just the internal stuff with Cider breaking. And I'm not sure as to what's going on, but this keeps firing. So I think we're requesting Cider stuff way too quickly. And that's why this error keeps happening. Which I don't like. Okay. I gotta figure out where this is. Where? No. Where is this? Where is this coming at? Get is plain state. Oh, we're grabbing a bunch of things at one time a lot faster. Okay. Okay. I know what's happening. Okay, so I recently increased, just for debug information. There's a line right here at the bottom of the thing, the set interval. I increased the less delay that it had. So now instead of a second, it's every 2 seconds, like twice every second. And it seems like Cider kind of just breaks if that happens. I think what I need to do is I need to set this up to where it cancels intervals and then changes it based on what platform you're on, at least for right now. So I'm gonna remove that from the code. I'm gonna recompile that. So I get this error out of my console. We're just gonna kill the entire function of the platform real quick with one line of code. And the reason why I'm gonna do that for right now is just because we need to not have errors in console. Okay. So first of all, we are going to, if you haven't seen, what was it? Requests plus the pop-up that pops up on boot. If you haven't accepted that, I'm going to show you exactly what it is right now. I'm going to make it to where I can see it again. And there's a reason why. Basically, I have a JSON file where I can type anything in it, and it will display it to the users upon boot. So I'm going to increase this number here. And by increasing this number, right, the program, when you restart it, will actually pop up whatever is written in this JSON file to everyone on the system, everyone that opens up this program. Now I'm going to set this back to 2 so that it doesn't pop up for anyone else. But this is a pop-up that's been popping up if you haven't accepted it. Even if you close it or press OK, it's just going to say, all right, we've already confirmed that you read this. Spotify is broken, and we're going to try to fix it today. I found a couple of things in Spicefy's Discord that may work. However, it requires me to rewrite the entire extension, which pisses me off because here's the thing. Spicefy is a client mod. Spicefy, what it does is it modifies the client code of Spotify. It actually injects itself into the code of Spotify, okay? So they have access to the Spotify web app source code. They decompile it, recompile it with their stuff integrated into it, and they patch that stuff in where they need to, okay? That's where they patch stuff in, right? That is their major thing. They can patch shit. Which your Kick channel name is just Dark Wolfie. It's also in the announcement in the Discord, by the way. But basically, they modify your Spotify client, okay? Yet, when it comes down to their app, they choose, and I'm going to say this again, they choose not to modify it. They choose not to modify code that's already existent in the app. They just add where they need to, which pisses me off because I'm going to show you my console here on Spotify. I have this little function that checks to see if I can request this API URL internally. And you can see it's set to 429, too many requests, okay? But if I reload this page, all right, if I do window reload, or isn't it? That's not a function. Can I just reset it? No. What the fuck? Okay, so here is this URL that we need. This is the URL. So I'm going to say equals this. I'm going to refresh it. Basically, by doing this, you just refresh the page. So when you do this and you call the API extension when you boot the client, all right? When you boot the client, I took a screenshot of what it does. So basically, I don't know why this is not resolving. What is this? I have no idea. It just goes here. I don't get it. Okay. Whatever. So let's go into here. Where do I need to go? Okay. Discord. So I made a little thing in the support forum because they said on their GitHub, all right, been messed up all day today. Yeah, because no, this is something with Spotify. But let's go to the Spicefy GitHub, okay? Spicefy, I'll just go to their website and click the GitHub button. They have said something about their Cosmos API already on here. So I'm going to search. Basically, or I'm just going to type 429. I should see recent. Yeah, there we go. Cosmos async returns 429. So basically, it's been doing this where every time you try to ping a certain artist or certain track or something like that, it keeps saying this 429 too many requests. And Spicetify being a thing that can modify how we call this API, like take this, right? Like take all of this, right? And forward it to an internal API or something along the lines of that, right? You know, something different. They don't. They choose not to. And here it is. It says not related to Spicetify. This is Spotify doing this, and there's no workaround. There isn't anything like wrapper local token generator. This requires use of the user token. Okay. So that's it. One of the pretty major features of Spicetify just won't work, and we'll have to go using the private dev keys for our front-end files until Spotify fixes it, if at all. This breaks a very large amount of extensions and custom apps, and this stance of not our problem, not planning on fixing, hell, an update on the docs to say that the library won't work and you guys are aware of the problem would at least suffice. So the fucking founder decides to reply with this. There are other ways to fetch stuff, SP client endpoints that work with user token, but we don't have a list of those, so you'll have to find them yourself. Spotify is breaking stuff consistently, and everyone developing for Spicetify is well aware of this. We don't have to tell people that they have to find workarounds for stuff that is broke or can be broken. We're just a wrapper around existing stuff. There's information on our docs about Cosmos Async that you should only use it for internal endpoints, which are far gone right now. We made this method work again because Spotify broke it for the use of external URLs, and a bunch of custom apps / extensions used it. It's up to you how you call the Spotify API. Right? And they said, I understand why this is caused by Spotify and can't be fixed here, but Cosmos Async is widely used and now returns 429s even for a single request, breaking many extensions and custom apps. I'm not asking for a fix, just acknowledgement. Something saying Cosmos Async may be unreliable and would avoid repeated reports and is kind of a best practice. Closing this is not related to Spicetify makes it appear nothing is broken, which isn't true. Which then they said, I said what I said. I won't repeat myself. You also keep talking like Cosmos Async. It's the Cosmos Async issue anyway when it's not. And it's not. But here's the thing. You can, and I'm publicly criticizing you. You can at least tell your community that you are aware of things. Yes, not everyone is a part of your Discord where you're going to announce it. I get that. But you only announce things like this in your Discord. You literally said, there's a lot of reported issue about 4.29 HTTP error. This is the only way you mention to your users that something is broken. This is the only way. You don't put it on your website. You don't put it on your GitHub as a pinned fucking issue so that people don't make multiple issues. How the fuck do you expect people to know there's an issue that isn't yours when you don't publicly announce it? Like, if I were to go to your docs page, which you just said you've updated again, I don't give a shit. And we go to your development for the API wrapper, right? We go to, let's go to classes. Or, no. Where is it? Methods. Cosmos Async, right? This page. This does not say anywhere that if you call currently the API website like this, that it won't work. It's saying that there's no way of showing that you have multiple. It just doesn't. It's pissing me off. Because you're going out of your way to announce it in Discord, but when people are actively developing, don't join your Discord, but go to your documentation, and they expect something to work, they're obviously going to create a GitHub issue because you're open source. You do this to yourself. Fucking change the website to where this says, hey, we know that this is experiencing 429 errors. Be aware of that. There's nothing we can do. You can at least put a banner, like this caution banner. Okay, let's do some inspecting, okay? Let's take this entire card. Where's this card? It's this thing, right? Let's copy this HTML. Let's go up here to below this, right? Let's edit as HTML and then paste the rest of it below it. Okay? Right? Now we have this. You could have done this. Watch. Could have done this. You could have done this. You could have done this. You could have done this. Okay? Where now if I go in here and edit this as HTML. Okay? You could have done this. You could have done this. You could have put this on your site. I did it in Inspect Elements. You could put this at the top of the documentation. Okay? You could put this on the top of your documentation. I will send you the code to throw this wherever. You built this with React, but I still modified your React shit to show this, and it works just fine. So this is something you could have done to warn users. You know that you may experience, I spelled experience wrong, 429 HTTP errors from using this function. This is something we're not able to fix at this time due to how Spotify handles requests. You could have said something to the majority of people that do not join your Discord, yet you choose not to. Okay? So you've already screwed up majorly when it comes down to that. Spotify, great. You also be disrespectful to people in the open source community by just saying this shit and saying this shit and saying, oh, well, you're talking like it's our issue. No, it isn't, but you have the choice to modify. Let me say that again. Modify. Okay? The Spotify client to slow down and check for this type of error. And then handle the request appropriately. You do not need to tell people this is not our problem. You have other people in different repositories. Literally. Doing this shit. Like, this, you're now looking at people that have developed their stuff when it comes down to their collection of Spicefy apps that they use and develop. It pisses me off. And then when I read this announcement, there's nothing. You have to use this little URL, which leads to whatever this is. And then I have to do all this work. So like, and then you're being an asshole. Like, you're already breaking TOS. We know. And if Spotify had a fucking problem with it, they would take your project down. They'd fucking cease and desist your asses. Yet they haven't, because guess what? I think Spotify employees also use your shit. I wonder why. I fucking wonder why your shit hasn't been taken down. It's because fucking employees of actual Spotify AB use your shit. Use your shit for theming their client. That's all they use it for. They don't use it for the extensions. They use it, well, maybe for the custom community creations. But I guarantee you the only reason why you haven't been taken down by Spotify yet is because they like your project. And they want you to do that. And they want you to develop for them and stuff like that. You're technically on a whitelist against their TOS. We're not breaking TOS using your shit unless they start taking your shit down. Because they're not going to ban users from their platform for using open source software unless they take the open source software down and then people still use it afterwards. There's nothing Spotify can do. And I guarantee you, if I go and report this to the devs of Spotify, they'll fix the issue, but then take down your fucking repository with a cease and desist notice. Because then they'll see it as a threat to people developing for their API for their internal shit when they shouldn't be developing for their internal API. So I'm just saying, you obviously can put a warning on your website. I did it in 5 fucking minutes using Inspect Element. Yeah. And you choose not to fucking change your shit. That pisses me off to a moot point because you choose not to help the people that you are injecting your shit into. Now, to continue on what's going to happen, I'm going to use this internal API. I am. I definitely am. Because I'm going to add it to the Spicify extension itself. And every single API call that uses this little fucking API thing for like tracks or information about a track is going to use that. But searching, I can't even fucking do. I can't even add Spotify search requests into the fucking program because the API is broke. I can't get that data back and send those results back. I can't. And if I want to get those results, let's look at the developer documentation, right? I don't care who's on Meta. I don't care. My headset's broke, and you guys want to charge me $210 to fucking fix it. So there's no fucking point of getting my headset repaired. I just want a fucking Quest Pro at this point. Like searching, can you use a app token? Can you use an app token? Can we use an app token? Out of curiosity, can we do that? What endpoints can I use an app token for? This would just be okay. So there could be an app token that we could use. However, this would require me adding options to add a Spotify client ID and client secret into the app, making people make their own Spotify application. Because I have one for Request Plus. This was because I needed this for the old version. Okay? And I got denied. Okay? I got denied. I had to whitelist people. I got denied for using this, for doing what I did here. I got denied. I requested, because it says development mode. I did request. For this to be public. Did it go through? No, because they told me it violated TOS by having it on a streaming platform. My thing, yes, integrated with a streaming platform to show what you were currently playing, and then to also allow song requests. And you want to know what's funny? I actually had search results working for the old version. I think I still have the old code because I built it for a friend that wanted to have their songs to have like an overlay, something custom, you know, with their own kind of features and shit. This was the original code. This was the original code for this program. This thing right here was the original code of what started out to be. This used to just be a web app. This is something you ran in your browser. It didn't have anything. Nothing. So let me tell you, when you provided an album or a playlist or an episode, or then it would say track, right? We had that all set up. We also had it set up to where you could also get the cue of the player to know what was played, to know what was there. It always get the top, which this didn't really help because, well, it shouldn't. I shouldn't have gotten the track information by that. Sorry. But I guess we have this. We get that request. And then we get this other one, and we get this post request. Oh, this says, oh, okay, so we add the token. Okay, so we add it to the queue with this. Okay, never mind. That's what I was looking at. Okay. And again, we have messages again. This is another message handler just in case. If this wasn't for the what was it? For the Twitch channel points, because I did do channel point detection. All right, which I am gonna add to the other one soon. Don't worry. We have everything. Hello, Evelyn, Evalian, whatever your name is. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. My mother is doing something. Sorry. So basically, this is what pisses me off, because I went ahead and I coded this in a matter of like a week. I did this all in a week. I made an entire admin panel. Everything. I put it on this domain like I was supposed to? No, I never did. But you get the point. I also had an entire database full of people. I have tokens, I have state data, I have user settings. You can see which people had channel points enabled. You can see which ones had requests enabled at the time, if it was using a certain type of bot, if it was whitelisted. Like, come on now. I was doing due diligence when it came down to developing this at first. Now, mind you, I built the API at first as a separate file, and then I merged it with the index. I built a logger. I built the entire Twitch stuff. This was going to be for, again, Twitch tokens. Would have done that. This was for the bot code. This is for the bot code, actually. This is for bot stuff, which is fine. Anyway, but I did this a long fucking time. It pissed me off. It really did. This pissed me off. I spent all this time doing it, and it could only be premium. If you got redirected to this, right, the page, right, when you were logged in, so the settings error thing right here, settings error 1, would say you can't enable request doing to have a non-premium account. Please pay for premium here. And then it would actually link to the fucking purchase page on Spotify. And I got denied. I think I have an email for it. Can I pull up that email? Actually, I took a screenshot and put it in the announcements channel. Hold on. I put it in the announcements channel in the Request Plus Discord. Well, let me like scroll up in that. Because this was before, yeah, because this is like way old updates, right? Overlay changelog, which then included DJX. That still is supported. There is a Twitch bot. The new URL. Use the Twitch API to make the bot mod, right? When you log in with Twitch, right? On that website, on that old code, it would not only mod the bot as soon as you logged in with Twitch and enabled requests, it would even warn you when he hovered over the button. And it used the Spicify API for users now playing data, right? Shows now when the DJ is talking, right? That's good. It also has, the same format like I use now too, right? And there's Twitch bot commands. Currently, this is the only one it was supported at. I also did some downtime to fix everything because the API quota was hit. We had a new theme by this person, which he was in the Discord. I'm not sure why he doesn't have a member role, but Cosmic Anyway, I don't know why I replied to myself on my bot, but okay, whatever. Server isn't paid now. Again, downloading data and will be back in operation soon. And then I restored it, and I said, Request Plus is getting a redesign, right? I was going to redesign it, where when you logged in with Twitch, your icon would appear, stuff like that. I was redesigning this in real time. Then I said, fuck, because this is the email that I received from Spotify saying the product or service is integrated with streams or content from another service. It is not. It's not directly integrated. Yes, people are playing the audio on stream. That's normal. However, my thing just displays it. They don't have to be playing the audio. They could just show what they're playing. They don't have to be, playing the fucking song audio. But people do. So Spotify denied it. Therefore, we will not be able to support your case. Great. We'll lock the 25 users. I took a month. I just left it. I just left it running, left it where it was, and I took a month. That's when I found Spicetify, because I was researching how to theme the client. And a friend, namely Zero Blindstar, which is a friend of mine, had this on and was theming his client and making it cool. And I wanted to know what that was. So I asked him to send it to me. And he sent me what it was. And I looked at it and I went, oh, okay. And I looked at it and I looked, wait, they have a developer API. I could use this. And I developed the first version of Request Plus. Now, mind you, when I developed this version of it, I built it with Electron Builder. I never did like the Electron Forge to build it with V and all that, this fancy stuff. So I used Bootstrap and base HTML just to make this work, right? It was bare bones. It was bare bones ass. I can technically install it. Let's go install it, right? Because then So let's go download some of the old versions, because I do have one old version on the download pages. Because, yes, I did wipe the repo because it had all my old shit on it. And I had to wipe it. So there is a release that is very old. This 0.8.3 beta. Right? I did not have the Mac release for this, but I think this is not the one with the new UI. I could be wrong, though. And I was self-signing this stuff. Yeah, this is the old one. Okay. So I'm just going to install it locally. This is going to be different. It's a different path, so it's not going to install over my other one, which is fine. And it's not going to use the same like login format. Well, it does. So it might automatically log me into Twitch. You can see the update checker was working in this one. I'll just press later. And this is the old version. This is what it was. And the way that it would connect with Spotify was via the WebSocket. So basically, it would run a WebSocket and do this. And you had the themes, you had the check for updates, include preview releases was already toggled by default. You had the overlay HTML, you had the Twitch. It was just base. It was something just to get out there so that you had request functionality, number one. And two, you also had a nice UI to look at. You can minimize it. Don't need to have it open. It was big. It was clunky. And the reason why it was big and clunky like this is because I had been making apps for stuff. Like my timer app uses the same UI style. You can tell the similarities because, well, I built this one first, and then I just copy and pasted code over here for Request Plus and made the title bar show like it was supposed to. Because there is text underneath this. It's just not visible. But there is text under there. And again, this is a Twitch thing, which allows me to increase or decrease a timer based on bits or subs donated to stream. This timer technically has increased since the last time I've used it because, well, the last time I used it, we increased it. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the old version. Now we have this nice UI layout, which is better. Are you on the phone with someone or are you talking to stream? I'm talking to stream. And basically, again, you have Twitch, but Kick doesn't log in instantly. And here's the reason why. Your Kick token only lasts for an hour, like a Twitch token or a Spotify token, technically. So when your Kick token expires, we don't refresh it. We don't. We just don't. That's just not how we do that. So when Kick breaks, you have to relog in with Kick. The way that Kick login works is I've built a API for it now. It's a separate API file than what I showed earlier. But what it does is it grabs your Kick token, because again, we have to sub to your Twitch chat, or your Kick chat, I should say. Sorry, Kick chat. We have to sub to your Kick chat. And we need your user token for that. We can't use an app access token to subscribe to your chat. We have to use a user access token. So to make it clean and usable and have as many, events subscribed to at one time as possible, because it's per user token, we use your user token to subscribe to your events. This also proves that the Kick account that you're logging into and want to monitor is yours. So that's how we monitor your stuff. And it does subscribe, and it is listening. It is listening for Kick messages. And just to prove that Kick messages are working, I'll type the !SR command over there. But because we currently have Cider enabled, because the way that chat is handled, because there's two different files. There's one for Kick chat and there's one for regular chat. It's something different. But you can see whenever I send something into Kick chat, okay, it says sender badges broadcaster in this little console. So every time I send a Kick message, you can see it's just sending that. That is because you are currently connected to a WebSocket. So basically, when you log in with Kick, I'm going to go through the code. When you log in with Kick, the auth manager saves your token. And once everything is, it gets all the active platforms and gets every single token. Get all stored tokens, and then it returns both of those tokens. Okay? You get the token, my server gets it. Twitch is all local. And we never send that to the API. Twitch is all local on the app, okay? So we never store your Twitch token, but we do store your Kick token. And we check to see if you have a valid token for Kick. And if you do, we push it to the active platforms if you do have a Kick token in there. Now, do we check your Kick token for something? Yes. We will show you how this works, okay? We also try, okay, to check if your Kick token is invalid. And then we're going to request a refresh. So we have a WebSocket that works with Kick chat, okay? So when we refresh everything, right, when we refresh tokens, we reinitialize the chat messages. So I'm going to show you how the chat handler for Kick works. So we set it up with a token, a user ID, the queue system, the WebSocket server for Spotify and other applications that will use it, like SoundCloud, settings, the YouTube manager, the guest, the song handler, the logger, and the Apple Music handler, so that we have Apple Music stuff. And the first things first, we call the setup WebSocket function, which then makes a API request to my API. It makes a secure WebSocket connection to my API. And when it says it is connected, right? When you get the connected command, all right, the type of message, which is connected, when you connect to this API, which I can show you, we're going to go to websocketking.com. I'm going to show you how this works. As you can tell, I was testing things, but here we go, okay? We're going to go to connection 1, which is basically this. So I'm going to go ahead and connect. When you connect to my API, you will get this connected to Request Plus WebSocket, please authenticate message. This is Instant. As soon as you connect, it sends this. And it's going to wait 30 seconds or 10, whatever I set it to. And if you haven't authenticated by that point, it kicks you. It kicks you off of it. It will disconnect you. We don't want to use any data. We're not sending any data, right? So there's no point of keeping you connected if you haven't authenticated. Now, mind you, we do have to use a real Kik token, okay? This one isn't going to work. It's just going to say auth error, token not found in database when we send that over. And the reason why is because, again, we don't have a valid Kik token. So I'm going to, can I hide this project thing? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pull the data. I'm going to go pull the, I'm going to go pull the token real quick from the database, which also includes me covering this because it will open there if I'm not careful. So I'm going to go pull my Kik token real quick. Means I am looking at the token database right now. There are so many Kik users. Holy shit. There is 19 Kik users that are active on this platform. That's interesting. There are 19 Kik users logged into the platform. That's crazy. All right, that's crazy. The last one to be modified was me, but there's someone else that is there that is also logging into their stuff. They logged into it an hour ago, apparently. That's actually interesting because it says updated at time. Okay, I've pulled my token, so I'm going to authenticate real quick. Okay, so now I'm going to trash the entire output, and I'm going to click off of this. Okay, so here we are. So we are authenticated with the WebSocket. We've identified us as the owner of this channel, and because the token is in the database on the API, we're able to basically send commands to this API. There's one specific one that only works, and that is subscribing to a channel. So we'll send a subscribe channel type with the channel ID being my Kik channel ID. And if I send this, you'll see it says subscribed. And what this does is within that 30 millisecond time that it took to respond to you, it's sent Kik a request saying, hey, we need to subscribe to this channel's chat. And now Kik has a really smart feature where it won't make a bunch of subscriptions to a chat based off of the same input. All right. So you will only have one of these events per channel. Okay. That it's really smart, which is really cool. But then my program receives that response from Kik and says, all right, cool. That's great. And then says, all right, we're now going to set, personally, it sets your WebSocket to receive a Kik chat message event whenever a Kik chat actually happens. So when Kik receives that chat message and sends that webhook request back to my API, it's going to then forward that webhook entire request data through the WebSocket to any client that's subscribed to that event for that channel. So again, we'll go into our Kik chat and we'll just say the L word again. We'll just type it. And as soon as I do this, you'll now see the WebSocket returns all of this data, all of it, which includes what badges they have, which includes what emotes, what the content of the message was, what the data of everything was, right? So my stuff, data is all the stuff sent by Kik. That is the Kik object. However, we have the type, the event type, the message ID, and the timestamp. All right, we generate a message ID because this is not something from, I think the message ID is sent from Kik stuff. Okay, so the type is Kik message. This is something we do personally. The event type is basically the same the event type as what you subscribe to, right? And the message ID is from Kik. The timestamp is the same timestamp right here, or at least it tries to be. You see it says 47, but this sent 2 seconds later, or whatever that is. 2 seconds later it sent it, right? But you can see that this is the timestamp of the chat message. So it's been 2 seconds, right, before it gets to you. It's pretty much pretty instant. You get the data message ID from Kik, and you get the entire webhook event response. Whatever Kik sent to me is sent to you. Okay? This is sent, again, to your clients when you log in with Kik. Okay? That's how that works. So right now, because Cider is broken, we'll just use SoundCloud. SoundCloud doesn't have song request support yet, but I do have SoundCloud support with better SoundCloud, and I'll show you that because it is a work in progress. However, I need to reopen up a piece of the code so that we can see it work in real time. Give me just one moment to refix this and compile the code. Verification. Oh, I was just making sure it was me, considering that I am modifying the page for the client. So I'll relaunch Request Plus here, just for example's sake. So in this right here, in Better SoundCloud, I'm going to have documentation on my website that will show you exactly what it is that you'll need. Okay? So I'll show you exactly what's going on. So when you click here, this little plug icon down here, this is going to open up the settings of Better SoundCloud. In custom JavaScript, I have the entire code as of right now pasted. That's fine. I just have the entire code pasted. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it where it loads a module, like a line that will load the module automatically, and you don't have to write all of this code in. So don't worry. This will be such easier later. So there we go. Okay. I'm going to close this. Now, when you play any song in this, it will show. However, the only things that do not work is volume control. The only thing that does not work is volume control, shuffle, and repeat modes. That's the only thing that doesn't work officially. But you can skip songs. You can go back to other songs. You can even like songs. Like that is a thing. Like everything else works. It's just you can't, again, adjust volume. Now, yes, it can detect what volume it is at. It does show that. However, you can't modify it because when you click here, it then does a click event over here that doesn't get canceled. And because you're not clicking on the window itself or clicking on this little black bar or whatever, it doesn't recognize the bar changing because you never clicked on the bar physically through the app because you were unfocused. So it actually pisses me off. Anyway, we'll leave this running. So we do have SoundCloud support. It does work. It's just very, very experimental. And I will be enabling the support for it as long as you're on a whitelist. I am going to make a whitelist system for beta testers to test out beta features in the stable clients. And this will show experimental. I'm going to actually change that now. Let's change that now. So to make it to where it says experimental there, we just go to settings. We'll go up here to the platforms area and type and there we go. Changed. How convenient. Now, the next thing that we're going to have to do is this logging function. This is just because it's debug stuff. I'm also going to look at the chat handler and see why we have an error. It looks like we have an error way up here. Preload type. I don't know why this is here. Well, save a line of code. So let's figure out why Apple Music requests aren't working. So that's the first thing I want to do. So Apple Music's Cider, this is not by Apple. This is a separate thing. You can see there's a dev test stuff. There's game mode, interesting. Audio settings, which again, you can do this, which is awesome. Interesting how they can process everything real good. Adrenaline processor. I have no idea what this does. However, they had a new update that I updated to, and it's broken everything because Cider, you can't go back down to this because it's, it's an updated client at this point. However, there was some other versions that I was on a different version at the time, and there was no stable way of getting this to work. So let's go ahead. We'll switch back to Cider. And I can already see what our problem is because we should get some warnings here in the console here in a minute. But I also want to take a look at it, and that's why we have this open. So on Request Plus's collection, I have a couple of things. I was also downloading a couple of things that I needed to download or figure out what the URL was. We have the Kick Chat and we have the Apple Music. You can see this says unauthorized app token. Okay. Well, why is that? Because this token is expired. So let's go ahead and get a new token. How do we get a new token? Settings, connectivity, scroll all the way down, press manage, and you'll see this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this remote because I was trying to get my own custom token, but we'll just use this one. These are all local tokens. These are tokens that cannot be accessed outside of my network, so I'm fine with sharing them. And we're going to copy and paste this here. And now it says, okay. And you can see we have the shuffle mode and the repeat mode and info. And nothing's currently playing. That's the info that we want to see. That's normal. So if I play Now Alone with My Memories, you'll now see it also hangs. Look at that. It's just hanging. That's weird. So it does sometimes hang, which is great. But you can see we have all this. Which it is working. Now, mind you, it has everything. It also shows remaining time, current playback time. This is all in seconds, which is very easy to convert to milliseconds for, specific stuff. But this is how we get all that information. And it's just there. Great. It's awesome. However, if you send too many requests, eventually it will just hang like it did earlier. Yeah, like that. You saw that for a second, right? Where it would just hang. I don't know what this is. I think this is something to do with a rate limit that they have specifically in Cider. Okay. But there is a rate limit that happens, right? You can see 2.8 seconds. It just timeout was reached, right? It was just timing out, not working. That's what's also happening with mine. I have a timeout set of 10 seconds. And the thing just has a rate limit that will fire consistently if you don't give it enough delay. So we need to make this to where we detect if Cider is running. So we need to check if settings dot platform is equal to Apple Music or Apple, which is what I called it internally. The request track info needs to be set to 2 seconds. Otherwise, it needs to be set to 500 milliseconds, okay? Which is fine. Now, mind you, I need to detect when this setting changes. So when this setting changes, right, we want to, on something, do this, right? When settings fire. I want to get rid of the set interval. So let's look up how to do that. I'm going to go to Google. Oh, okay. Google's telling me really good. Here we are. So instead of doing this, we're going to do a function that starts our stuff, but we need to set a new variable. So I need to come up here. I don't know what type it is. I don't know what set interval returns to, but it's some sort of ID. Okay. So I'm going to let song interval ID equal the timeout. No JS timeout. We'll just do that. That's fine. What we're going to do down here, where the code usually ends, we're going to say, we're going to write a function update inter for song. If that's there, we're going to set this to this, right? 1000 or 2000. If we're going to do if the settings platform is not equal to Apple, we're going to set this to be 2000. Else, we're going to set it to be 500 times. There we go. So that should work. But now we need to call this function every time we call the settings update 2 seconds later. So there's a settings update IP handler that we're going to need. See this? All the settings update. This. And then we're also going to set settings, right? Settings is equal to settings. Do change the settings. Settings. How it works. There we go. By doing this, this should, in fact, every time we update our settings handler, need to update the So that should fix it. That should make it to where everything runs at the 500 millisecond stuff. Outside of it. Did you just sign up for Kicktoy? Really? Did you just make your own Kick account? You silly goose. Okay. Now I just don't see this working. Oh. Oh, I see. Because we're not calling it when we open up the main window. Okay. Here. So after check stored tokens, we can do the update interval for song. Nuh-uh. It follows. Yeah. Mischievous little miss over there. That should fix that bug. Because it should be displaying information. Oh, my headphones died. Yay. I can't hear. You can see now it's not real time with Apple Music, but it is updating every 2 seconds, which is a lot less errors over here. Right. Now, we need to figure out why requesting to Cider doesn't work. So let's figure that out, shall we? So we know in Twitch chat, which I conveniently have two of for some doesn't allow song requests. Here's why. You can see when we do that, we get to throw a couple more errors. Okay. Didn't work. So let's copy a song URL. Share, Apple Music. We'll send a song request for it. Right? Okay, so now it's gonna make me a liar. Hmm. I see. I think okay, so the way that the cider was working is it was timing out requests because of how many it was being sent. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna go. Let's go to the cider Discord real quick. Just in case a DM conversation opens. I wanna go to the cider people real quick. we'll see if we'll get a response about that. Um, because I am just trying to get the thing to work, and the fact that some of the cider stuff won't work sometimes because of the rate limiting like that, I think that's a bug. I think that's a bug on their time because it is a REST API. You shouldn't be calling the web endpoints with Axios like that. You should be connecting to their WebSocket. However, I don't want to do that. I've already done a WebSocket connection to my API. We don't need that. I don't need that code. Okay, so that's fixed. That is working as intended. However, when you do not include a link, it is not working as intended. So we need to fix that. And here's how we're going to do it. We need to go to this function. If message dot split is less than 1, so let's see. Okay. I guess that works. Okay. I guess doing the basic thing works too. All right. All right. Whatever. Now, what was it? Let's go back to the Request Plus Discord, by the way. That was the thing I wanted to look at. Uh basically he's also asking for like a sub only mode. which we can do. If we can do moderator only, we can do sub only, which also includes, you guessed it, sub only mode for Kick, which I do not. I do not have Kick monetization, so I don't know how to test against that, which kind of sucks. Oh. Oh. I just gotta. Okay. I just have to have a total of 5 hours stream. Cool. I can do that. Cool. Got it. Just gonna have a remix on. But now that we know the equivalent to what we need, that's good. Okay. So we just have to stream for 5 hours. Then we can test that. But I can get the Twitch ones going. Oh, nobody else as good as you. All right. This dude never left me empty-handed. Is subscriber. Okay. the fucking cash. It's beautiful, it's bittersweet, she like a broken onto it. I did. I just didn't look on stream, but I saw it. Here, you want proof? I saw it. Here. Supposed to be me. What do you mean? Doesn't look like me at all. Oh, and plus, I never wear a mask. That's whatever. I did works. I did works. Whatever I did works for now. Oh, you're still a good artist, so keep drawing. I want to call him. We can call him after stream. And if it's better with a view, I'm always in the mood. Collaborate and listen. I suspect with a brand new invention, something grabs hold of me tightly, fall like a hawk and daintily and lightly. We're in the stop. No, I don't know. Turn off the lights and on glow. One A. Bistro never do, cause a hopping, lesbian bikinis, rocking lovers, drumming bikinis, jealous.
Only they knew.